Self-esteem is not one of the big 5 personality traits, but it is an important aspect of one's personality. The degree to which a person is at peace with oneself or has an overall positive assessment of one's own self-worth and capabilities seems to be relevant to whether someone is viewed as a leader. Leaders with high self-esteem support their subordinates more. And when punishment is administered, they punish more effectively. It is possible that those with high self-esteem have greater levels of self-confidence, and this affects their image in the eyes of their followers. Self-esteem may also explain the relationship between some physical attributes and leader emergence. For example, research shows a strong relationship between being tall and being viewed as a leader. It is proposed that self-esteem may be the key mechanism linking height to being viewed as a leader, because people who are taller are also found to have higher self-esteem and therefore may project greater levels of charisma as well as confidence to their followers. Integrity. Research also shows that people who are effective as leaders tend to have a moral compass and demonstrate honesty and integrity. Leaders whose integrity is questioned lose their trustworthiness, and they hurt their company's business along the way. For example, when it was revealed that Whole Foods Market CEO John Mackey was using a pseudonym to make negative comments online about the company's rival Wild Oats Market, his actions were heavily criticized. His leadership was questioned, and the company's reputation was affected, according to Farrell and Davidson, 2007. There are also some traits that are negatively related to leader emergence and being successful in that position. For example, agreeable people who are modest, good-natured, and avoid conflict are less likely to be perceived as leaders. Despite problems in trait approaches, these findings can still be useful to managers and companies. For example, knowing about leader traits helps organizations select the right people into positions of responsibility. The key to benefiting from the findings of trait research is to be aware that not all traits are equally effective in predicting leadership potential across circumstances. Some organizational situations allow leader traits to make a greater difference. For example, in small entrepreneurial organizations, where leaders have a lot of leeway to determine their own behavior, the type of traits leaders have may make a difference in leadership potential. In large bureaucratic and rule-bound organizations such as government and military, a leader's traits may have less to do with how the person behaves and whether the person is a successful leader. Moreover, some traits become relevant in specific circumstances. So, for example, bravery is likely to be a key characteristic in military leaders, but not necessarily in business leaders. Scholars now conclude that instead of trying to identify a few traits that distinguish leaders from non-leaders, it is important to identify the conditions under which different traits affect a leader's performance, as well as whether a person emerges as a leader.